No, of course no. But I bet the under. I didn't really have a side that I loved. I loved the under in that game.
I had a good showdown for a change.
Nice. Ravens defense with Roquan Smith, man, they look pretty nice though.
This is the team they should have been the whole time.
I know. Dalton, I'm not sure Dalton even starts next game. It's getting ugly. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com NFL Strategy Show. I'm Dave Loughran at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D, joined by Ben Rasa at JazzRazDFS. No basketball today on a Tuesday.
Yeah, speak for yourself. College.
Oh, sorry,
baby.
No NBA. I meant they're not coming in from an NBA strategy show. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to offend you. Did not mean to offend you.
130 games yesterday.
Yeah. I had to do a deeper dive for NBA, all 15 games on the slate, which was insane. But we are in the second half officially of the season, and it's flown by. I feel like I say it every year, but it feels that way every single season.
It's nuts. Even with I just did a college show before this, week 11 there. Like, what? I keep thinking like, man, the Thanksgiving slate, I got to like prepare for that. It's in like 10 days. It's coming up so quickly. We are flying by, but it's been good. We're starting to see things take shape. Coaches are getting dropped each and every week. Some of the, on the bottom of the totem pole, and we're going to continue to see that. So I like this part of the season. One of my favorites.
I love Thanksgiving football.
It's the best.
I somehow never have good showings on Thanksgiving Day for DFS.
I have never made it past the Lions game.
I don't think I have either.
Ever.
I don't think whether it's David Blau or whoever it was.
Theo Riddick's been out of the NFL for 7 years. And then it's just like, touchdown, DeAndre Swift. No, wait, that's Amir Abdullah. And it's like, what? He's not even on this team.
Yep. And then there was another one. Remember, Adrian Peterson wasn't getting any work at all season.
Yep.
And then first quarter, he has 2 1-yard touchdowns. It's like, all right. I remember we were going to Justine's aunt's house, which is like an hour and 20 minutes away. Just brutal. Never want to do it.
That's all.
Yeah. Love the family, but I hate, you know what I mean? And and then afterwards you're full and all the big, beautiful house, but all the furniture is like meant to look at and not to sit on. Right. You know what I'm talking about? More like a museum than anything else.
That's bad.
You have a big meal and then you want to just sit down and watch the game, but you're like propped up.
So we go down to May's family and they're normal people. They don't watch the show, so I could say whatever I want. They don't have the game on. How crazy is that?
We have to put it on there. Like they don't turn it on. We have to put it on.
It's just like, what are we doing? Like, even if you don't like football, that's just like part of the thing. Just like stuffing and turkey. Like you just do what you do.
Yes. That's 100% correct. You don't have to enjoy football. You just need to have it on.
Obviously.
Like, all right. I think the ball drop for New Year's Eve is the dumbest thing in the world, right?
It is.
But if I'm up at midnight and people are at my house, I'm going to have the ball drop on.
If you are there, I mean, we're not going to start this show with like crazy hot takes where I'm annexing people to an island. But if you stand out there in the 2-degree weather to watch that,
you're an idiot.
I have some questions for you.
Dude, there were people out there that just like pissed their pants because they can't get it. I'm serious.
So am I.
They're it's insane. Like they're all herded into these gated areas, miserably. Every year I see that, my only takeaway isn't, hey, that's a good band, or like, hey, this was cool. It's why and how could you stand out there?
I've been in the city for New Year's. Like it's a mess in itself, but to be down there would be, I mean, I wouldn't do that for basically anything. So.
What if I offered you 50 G's?
I was saying to you, I had a good showdown yesterday, so I'm less inclined to do it. But there are some years where it's like, it's 30 degrees and like no wind. And it's just like, that's just stupid. If you do that on a day where it's windy and like 0 degrees, you honestly again, I'm not sure you should be part of society.
What about the people who filled their ballots out wrong in Pennsylvania and now there's thousands of them and they're telling them that here, you can fix them. Should those people just have to say, you know what? I don't know how to fill a ballot out. Maybe this is for the best.
Yeah, maybe you should sit this one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better luck in 2 years.
We as a society need to there needs to be kind of like prerequisites for everything.
Too much of a coddling nature too. Like if you can't figure things out as an adult, if you don't realize that the ball drop being there is a horrible idea. Some people, you know what? Some people might enjoy it, but whenever they pan the camera across, they're all look miserable.
That's because they are. It's honestly a perfect segue into a little football talk with some of these teams where it's like, if you're an adult and you can't figure it out, the Cardinals. I mean,
it's bad. Well, Seattle, I'm telling you, man, Seattle, I'm not saying they're legit, but I'm telling you, they're a decent football team right now. They're playing really well.
They are, but Arizona.
Oh yeah, agreed.
I mean, first of all, in that game, so Arizona gets a pick six, a gift from the gods. They take the lead. Then the Seahawks just drive right down. Somehow, like the Cardinals make it a game, and then they let Noah Fant catch a 60-yard screen pass. Geno Smith had a scramble. They had to zoom out the camera to show where the Cardinals defenders were. I swear to God, there wasn't a defender within 20 yards in any direction of him. It was just like, even the announcers were just like, this is just a full lack of understanding on that coaching staff. Cliff Kingsbury 100% is getting fired. And they're the in-season hard knocks, which is just comical.
He has to. And then they'll hire like Larry Fitzgerald as the coach, Jim Irsay style.
Go ahead. I don't mind that. I'm all for experimentation.
I love that. Well, I think Jim Irsay, I think this is an awesome move because you're looking at this season, right? And you're going, all right, we're fucked. Like we're in trouble no matter what. Sam Ellinger is our quarterback. Our offensive line is terrible. It's essentially over. I mean, yes, they're 3-5, 3-5-1. I get it, Ben. They're not completely out of it yet, but I think the writing is on the wall. And he's going, we're midway through the season. I could hire some interim coach that's almost certainly not going to be here next year, or let's have some fun. Let's take a shot. Let's take a guy that is beloved in Indianapolis, who hasn't the highest level of football he has coached is a sub 500 high school team. Granted, it was in Georgia, so I guess, it's serious out there. But Jeff Saturday is getting thrown into the fire, man.
Good. That's what you should do. I never understood. One of my biggest pet peeves in sports is that if you just play or do things like the good teams, then you need better talent than them. Like if your team sucks, try something crazy. Do something. What's the worst that can happen? Like, I don't understand why you want to model. We're going to play exactly like the Eagles and the Bills, except we don't have any of the good players. Smart. That'll work out perfectly.
You're right. In a season where they've been terrible, why not take a shot instead of some retread that's an interim coach every 4 years and makes no noticeable changes? Yeah. Right? Like that's what we always get.
Shout out to the Dolphins. I will always give them credit for when they did the Wildcat, and that was like unheard of. Unheard of. Why? Because what did they have to lose?
I agree. And, I think you had to credit the Eagles too, in terms of coaching. It's not a homer take. It's the sense of like, it doesn't always work out, but they've always been willing to try new things and get away from the retreads, right? Like always. When's the last like real retread coach that the Eagles have brought in? Sirianni, Doug Pete, these are first-time head coaches. Chip Kelly didn't work out, but he was a first-time NFL head coach.
Yeah, it's not supposed to work out. That's not the point where it's like, oh, everything I do works, but you're trying it. I never understand. I always find that comical on ESPN, and then we can start diving in. It's like they bring on and you insert like Herm Edwards. Perfect example. Now he's back on ESPN, and they're asking him all these strategy questions. It's just like, you want the guy who just got fired answering what you're supposed to be doing, like, right. And then someone will rehire him again.
Oh yeah. Like, no.
What are you doing?
Yes. Yeah. It's crazy. I do think though that a head coach not having success can still go back to being like a DC or an OC and have a lot of success. That's way different.
or just innovate and get another shot. I'm not saying it's one and done, but some of these guys, they don't change, and it's going to end the same way over and over.
No
and over. Even the
evolution.
Cowboys, you'll see eventually they have all the talent in the world. That's going to cost them at some point.
If you don't evolve in this league, you're done.
You're done.
You're done. Oh, one last thing, and then let's talk quarterbacks here for week 10. By the way, always very happy to have you guys with us. This is a great crew. This is our favorite show of the week. We love taking a first look at this slate. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you're watching after the fact. If you're listening in podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Leave a rating and review. All that stuff helps us greatly. Follow Ben on Twitter. Follow me. But yeah, if you haven't done so, take that single second, hit the thumbs up. I thank you guys in advance. All right, so I feel like you'll appreciate this. I feel like any football fan or anyone just a fan of nature and weather in general will enjoy this. I was on YouTube last night.
Here we go.
Why here we go?
Because you watch stuff that you have to sign in to watch. I'll tell you that much. You're watching like these crazy.
I do watch crazy weather stuff like bomb cyclones and insane weather patterns. But I love that, like huge storms, tornadoes, hurricanes. I will chase tornadoes and hurricanes and stuff. Once my kid's in college, oh for sure. And once she's in college and she doesn't rely on me to be alive, I will 100% be out there doing my thing.
Smart.
Let me get back to the point. I've told you this before. I love watching replays of bad weather games, like the Blizzard Bowl with the Eagles and the Lions, where McCoy ran for 214.
Yeah.
The Fog Bowl, dude. I never really dug into that. The Eagle, and this wasn't just Eagles games I was looking at. Somehow Eagles are always involved in insane weather games. The Eagles Bears Fog Bowl, where they said they couldn't see anybody within a couple feet in front of them. Like I think it was Singletary said that. Or no, Cunningham was saying he saw Singletary's eyes and then he would drop back because, Singletary had those crazy eyes, would drop back and then just everything would disappear. But you made me think of the Geno scramble with nobody within 20 yards, because I was thinking if you're Randall Cunningham in that game and they lost that game and you literally can't see 10 feet in front of you, you're Randall. Snap the ball, run backwards out of sight, and then just go straight down a sideline and hope you don't get taken out.
Yeah, there would be. I mean, I'm all for. I think you should be able to do whatever you want with your home field. Like, I think you should be able to artificially have like water or weather. Or,
what? Just to create like massive advantages?
Yeah, why not? Like the Astros had a hill, and nobody thought that was like.
Yes, you're right. They got rid of it.
If they can have a hill, you should be able to have like a valley or a pit. Like, why not?
All right, so if you're designing a stadium, what's the first thing that you do?
Like in terms of like lava centric stuff.
In terms of unnatural elements to this.
So I always thought it'd be cool that the Sharks in particular, because they're a hockey team, that their ice should be clear and under it should be actual shark tank, like it's on top of an aquarium. I know that wouldn't really give you an advantage, but wouldn't that be sick?
And you play in like. So you'd have to play in crazy spikes.
Like Mortal Kombat. Again, that has made it into the show like 2 out of 3 weeks.
No. On your cleats. If you're going to be running on ice.
No, I'm talking about the hockey team.
Oh, you're talking
about Sharks. The Sharks, they should play on top of an aquarium. That would be cool. That really wouldn't help you.
Oh, the team, the actual team,
the actual shark should play on top of an aquarium, and it should be see-through. So, like when you're looking down, there's actual sharks down there,
and there'd also be a viewing area from underneath too. There have to be like where you could go underneath.
Yeah, that's fine. See, like scuba. Yeah, tap the glass. That would be fun.
It sounds safe.
Like MMA should have this too. MMA, I think that would be sick. Like, rain match. So it's just like pouring in the octagon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That'd be sick.
It would. It's so impractical. Football makes it exciting. Football's exciting because you can't predict any of that. It happens or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like what's the craziest weather game I've seen recently, not including 2013 Eagles Blizzard Bowl, was last year, Patriots Bills, where they were kicking balls and they were literally going backwards.
Yeah, and then they just never. Then somehow they didn't throw it ever.
I just love to see how teams change things up in bad weather games. Like who's more prepared, who can adjust, what are the elements doing to the game? It's almost like watching a different sport sometimes, and I really, really enjoy it. I really do.
Keeps it lively. I mean, when we get into and this is kind of, we're in week 10. You get into the grind. Like I like games that give you a fresh feel on the slates.
Want to talk some week 10?
Sure, let's do it.
How chalky is Justin Fields going to be this week?
Yeah, he's going to be real chalky. Like, I don't even know if this is a hot take. Maybe the highest owned quarterback of the year.
Whoa. Maybe 10-game slate, not a 12-game or anything.
I mean, main slates, obviously, of course.
Yeah, of course. Not showdowns.
No.
I have no idea if Josh Allen even plays. First,
I don't think he's gonna.
No. Mahomes against Jacksonville, fine spot, but Kyler against Rams, Tua against. He's going to be really popular. Justin Fields is going to be really popular.
I'm telling you, I think he has a real chance to be the most popular quarterback of the year.
All right. So we now have 3 strong games from Fields. He's running like a wild man. They finally figured it out to design more runs for him. I'm an idiot too. On Sunday's Deeper Dive, I'm hyping this up. I'm like, yeah, they're running more option, more option plays. They're designing more runs. And then I just go on and crunch lineups and have very little Justin Fields. Like I'm not saying you could see it coming in this case, right? But you could definitely see a big game coming against Miami. What I want to know, which is far more important than like, is he a good player or not for you, is if he really is going to be ultra chalk on this slate, are you eating that chalk and the stack like a Kmet or a Darnell Mooney type situation?
So I think the most interesting thing about this in some ways, they're clearly tailoring the offense. And I've been on the record. You can check the tape. I always think
you've been saying it long before I had. Yeah.
I like Justin Fields a lot. This is a very competitive spread, but I kind of like the Bears in the game. I wonder what happens if they play from consistently ahead. Like the game was out of control and they've gotten beat down. The Cowboys crushed them and he had a big line. They crushed New England and he had a big line. But what I'm getting at, he almost seems game script proof with his rushing upside. Like, I don't know if they phase him out, where I've said this for a while with Lamar or Josh Allen. Like, if they're really in control, they don't lean on it until they have to. With Justin Fields, I think it's like first, second, and third option is get him on the move. So I'm going to play him like everybody else, I think.
Yeah. And you know what else is going to really inflate that ownership is the fact that you've got dirt cheap price points on all of his pass catches. Like if you wanted to go to Mooney or Claypool or Cole Kmet coming off a 2-touchdown game, 3 touchdowns in the season, all of them in the last 2 weeks, you're paying nothing for them.
Oh, it's super easy. It's obviously a skinny stack. Yeah, I mean, I had last week was just weird. Like a lot of people, I had all the right pieces, and story of most people, you don't have them together. Like I got to some Mixon. I had Fields, didn't have them together. And I think you can definitely buy into this chalk. Now I want to see the tools here at Stokastic are second to none. If they are telling me he's the worst leverage play on the slate, well, I'm going to reevaluate, the boom bust tool and things like that. I don't think it's going to say that though. I really don't. I know it's just Tuesday. I think this is going to be good chalk.
I think you're right. Just the rushing upside alone elevates that floor so much. They're not going to throw a ton, but this offense looks markedly better. There's no denying it. That's why I'd be saying it was fluky and they come back down to earth. I think you'd be saying the same thing if we didn't see clear adjustments in what they're doing offensively and how they're calling plays.
Yeah, as much as we, there's a million coaches that I truly think are stubborn and arrogant and they will not adapt. Then you've got other guys like this. I don't know much about the Bears coach, but I know enough to have
Eberflus.
seen him say, you know what? I'm not going to say you have to fit my system. I'm going to design a system for you. And it's working. They're letting Justin Fields do things that obviously the previous regime didn't. And this is Justin Fields. Like, this guy can do things that not many quarterbacks can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Eberflus and then offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, they figured something out.
Are you shocked at the spread? I'm sorry, but like, I thought this would be 4.5.
I thought it was going to be more than that, even honestly, with the way Detroit's played. I almost threw this in our Discord this morning. Chicago -3. Yeah.
There's 2.5s out there.
Really? If there's 2.5s out there, Chicago's defense has been the reason they've lost these two games. It's not the offense. They've scored what? 61 points over the last 2 weeks or something. That's just off the top of my head. I thought it was 29 and 32.
Yeah. And they've just been, they're at home. Like, I don't really get this.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Look, Detroit came off that win last week, but that is more an indictment on Green Bay than anything else. Can't say it anymore. This team, Aaron Rodgers, they're bad. They're bad. And they couldn't even run that's what shocked me. They couldn't even run the football in that game. Just dismal showing from them. I think Detroit could, I think Chicago could come out here and blow the doors off this Detroit team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
But quarterback's not that great this week. Like, if you're making decisions here in the mid-range, and we can touch on the top tier in a second, but if you're making decisions here in the mid-range or mid-range or lower tier, you have Tua. Okay, that's nice. But just so you know, if you're playing this stack, you're paying a massive premium. I'm not saying it isn't deserved. You know, these guys have been amazing. Tyreek Hill has 1,100 yards already on the season. And Tua hasn't even played in every game.
Nuts.
It's nuts. He's been unbelievably – he's having a better season than he ever had with Kansas City. Nuts. It's just out of control. I understand he only has, 3 touchdowns, but still, it hasn't even mattered because his yardage totals are through the roof. But you have him at 9,100. You have Jalen Waddle at what? I think he's 7,600, Tua at 67. So that's not a viable pivot off of Fields in the sense that, like, hey, this is where I'll get different. If you're going different with Tua, that means you're going different pretty much everywhere from a Justin Fields lineup, which I'm not saying isn't reasonable. And then Derek Carr against Indy. I want to like him, but they blew another, 20-point lead, 23 or whatever it was.
Every week.
Hey, Adams has a monster first half and then is completely silenced in the second half. They allow Jacksonville to come back. Matthew Stafford, that offense is terrible. Jalen Ramsey said we need some dogs out there on offense. Called the offense out. And honestly, I don't blame him for a single second. That offense has been abysmal. Lawrence against KC. Maybe Case Keenum at 5K against Minnesota. I'm just throwing names out there. All I'm saying is the mid-range and lower tier, there are warts on every one of these guys. Who do you look towards in this tier, in these two tiers?
So, yeah, I do think Trevor Lawrence is interesting. He's got numerous pass catchers. He's going to be throwing the ball a ton. He can move. Like, he's not Justin Fields, but he doesn't give you 0. They're 10-point dogs. Garbage time equity. I saw Chap mention Taysom Hill. Even if that's the case, if they say we're done with Dalton, I'm not going to go there, I don't think. I think there's still too many variables with what goes on. But there's one name that I'm surprised you didn't mention in this range.
Let me see. Hold on.
From Cousins down to like Pickett, in between there, basically the 5K range.
I feel like you're talking about Daniel Jones.
That is who I'm talking about. At home, the Texans off the bye, like.
Yeah.
I know Justin Fields is the talk of the town. It wasn't that long ago where everyone was saying the Giants have designed an offense for Daniel Jones. They're getting him on the move. They're not letting him screw it up. He was putting in some performances. Yeah. I don't know. Touchdown favorite's a little weird.
He has 6 passing touchdowns in 8 games. That's my only thing here. Daniel Jones is a nice rushing quarterback. There's no doubt about that. any big game, you would agree, any big game at this point that Jones has is going to be, I almost want to say driven by his legs and supplemented with the passing game.
I get it.
I see what you're saying though. What I'm saying is if he gets there, he's got to do something on the ground. It's no surprise Barkley's the highest priced running back this week.
Yes, and that's the more prudent guy to go to. I'll give you one more, and this could get you into trouble. But I spent the first half of the show talking about Shark Tanks under ice rinks. But before that, I was talking about how bad the Cardinals are. If there was ever a time, and there might not be a time, but Stafford at home against the defense that I'm not joking at various points, it didn't seem like they had 10 guys on the field. Never mind 11, which you need. I thought they might have had 6 guys. There was no one in the picture.
It's bad. I did mention Stafford.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. Jalen Ramsey called him out and said, we need some dogs on offense. Like their offense that's the one I said, their offense has been abysmal. You're right. If there's ever a time that this offense can figure something out, it has to be this week, right? It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that for like 4 weeks straight with some of these teams, the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks. Like, it's just funny that, and maybe I'm wrong here, Cooper Kupp, if he doesn't slide, say he just, gets that first down, they win the game clearly. They're kneeling. I feel like Stafford is one of the obvious options this week. The Rams are getting it together. Now they draw a home game with the Cardinals. Because they lost the game, I feel like no one's talking about Stafford.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I did write him down. I do have him down here. He was one of the guys that we were going to talk about, but it's going to feel horrible. No doubt about it. But maybe that's the answer. It's not going to feel good, but that might be the answer.
The answer honestly seems like just play Justin Fields and figure it out. Yeah.
And there will be ways to get different, but man, the Fields Mooney or Fields Kmet, Saquon Barkley, that's going to.
That's your cash lineup.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Straight cash. Look, I think it's fine in tournaments too. Like Barkley could have a monster game here. It's not like you can't do certain things differently. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to ask you about some of these running backs towards the top. We'll dive into that. But do you want to hit on anyone else? Just as far as like Mahomes and Murray go, any of these top price guys?
No, I mean, I think always you can do that when they're low owned. Our top stack tool, it's my favorite tool on our site. It quickly will identify this. And that's why I don't really worry about it early in the week, because I go there. And if it tells me that Kansas City or even Arizona is going to be like a 2% owned stack and they have a 12% chance of being the optimal stack, it will jump off the page and I will just allocate some. It's that simple with these elite quarterbacks.
Agreed. All right. Oh, new collective pack drop today, Ben.
Oh yeah. The terror. That's beautiful.
Hey, if you guys haven't signed up for PrizePicks yet and you're looking to get maybe a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum, maybe $100 first match deposit bonus, maybe all the free tools that we already have at Stokastic for PrizePicks to make the best decisions and give yourself an edge, well, now's the best time to do it. The link's in the description. Link is in chat as well. You're talking about a site over there that literally when you sign up and deposit, you get up to $100 first match deposit bonus and a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. Ben just mentioned it. The tools at Stokastic are second to none. The top stack tool, the ownership, the player projections, the boom bust tool, not just for football though. You get the free month. It's for everything, right? Basketball in full swing, college basketball projections, college football tools and projections, NHL, PGA, MMA, NASCAR. Like, I don't know when NASCAR comes back, but you get the point. All of the sports, if there's contests out there for these sports, we have tools. We have the content. We have top stacks, for any sport that stacking is involved. The top plays tool is my favorite tool for the showdown slates. Top fighters tool for MMA. And if you're wondering what they are, go ahead, take a look for yourself. You could do 3 free days of all of our NFL content on this show. There's a link. Or you sign up for PrizePicks, assuming it's available in your state, and You go over there and you enjoy it too. All you're doing is building lineups, 2 to 5 prop lineups. And if you hit all 5, you 10x your entry. Unlike traditional parlays, you hit 4, you still make 2 times your entry. You still make money back on 3x. Great way to make money, build a bankroll, sustain your bankroll over there. And Ben, hey, if it's someone like you could do multiple sports. You don't just have to do football.
That's what I love, because you can mix and match, and they've got categories. I'll talk about this on the PGA show coming up next. They got stuff that you just can't find, fairways, birdie, like really specific props for some of these. Look at it, a little esports. Yeah, Searson. He's going to be, shooting people in Counter-Strike in just a little bit. Big matchup today. Me and Eitan will probably be gambling about that after the show. Anything that you want, PrizePicks, it's right there. Yeah, look, simple. There's the freebie of the afternoon. They got really cool concepts, and as you mentioned, not all or nothing. A lot of these where you have to build a parlay, it's like, oh, you can get a big upside, but if you miss one, you're done. You can grind up your bankroll with parlays, and that's something that you just don't see at other places with these props. It's a really cool opportunity to grow the bankroll.
Usually parlays are a way to lose money. Yeah,
that's correct. I have a lot of experience. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but I will say I spent so much time on college basketball yesterday. Crafted out. You can check out that video on the Odd Shopper channel. And of my 3 bets, the star player on my team in 2 of the games just did not play. No explanation.
Wait, just didn't didn't see the court?
No, they didn't play. Weren't it's just like the lawlessness of what goes on.
Did you win the bets?
No, I went 1 and 2. I lost both of those.
I wasn't sure if you got lucky. Yeah.
The first one I really had a chance to get lucky, but it's just like, oh yeah, he's not playing.
And then you have YouTube comments like, "Hey, idiot!
Yeah, nice job, jackass." It's like, well, you didn't watch the game. Like the kid's an all conference player, and he's just not there.
That's insane.
Like, these teams. I mean, this is what you get when you bet Cal Baptist. Like, there is no reporting for a team like that. But
yeah. But anyway, check it out. It's a win-win-win. Up to $100 first match deposit bonus. Free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. All of our tools for every sport. All the PrizePicks tools are already over there, all the player prop tools, and a very cool site to play on and win money. It's not just one of those trash sites. If it's not available in your state, we'll tell you about one before the end of the show that is available in your state. Almost certain, because PrizePicks and betting sites, they're usually not available in the same states, and we'll give you 2 free months of Stokastic Plus Platinum there. So stick around for that. But anyway, running backs. You have Saquon Barkley. We can both agree that he will be chalky, correct?
He has to be extremely chalky.
I have a few players that I think will be very, very chalky. I think Barkley is going to be popular. It seems like from the way he's spoken that Zeke may still be out. Tony Pollard against Green Bay would be very popular if that is the case. We won't know till later in the week. I think Dameon Pierce, especially after that Thursday night game where people got to get a glimpse of him, and now he's facing a Giants team whose run defense is awful. I think he will be pretty popular. So there are a few, but I want to start at the top. Barkley at 8,600 against Houston. Derrick Henry against Denver, just got rid of Bradley Chubb too. 8,300. Interesting spot there for me. Very interesting if he comes in way lesser owned than Saquon Barkley. I can't help but be intrigued by that, knowing what the offense looks like and knowing how Denver has actually had some real chinks in the armor when it comes to their run defense.
There's no doubt that Tennessee at home against a Denver defense that I do respect, their run defense is not that good though. And Derrick Henry he almost renders your run defense useless because he's just such a unique player. I think Saquon's going to be extremely popular. I think Derrick Henry will be somewhat popular. I think that Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb will be relatively unowned.
I agree. I don't know how much Nick Chubb I want in this spot, although he's been excellent. I think you're right, though. I did have Dalvin Cook written down. Just if Case Keenum is out, then Cook becomes even more appealing. It's just I don't know if Cook. Yeah, he has been targeted nicely the past couple of games. How would you rank these guys in a vacuum then? Because for me, it's Barkley, Henry. Even though I really like Henry in this spot, And then it would be kind of a toss-up between Chubb and Dalvin Cook. Do you see it differently?
No, I think it's pretty clear to me. Barkley, Henry, Chubb, and then Cook. Minnesota has just changed their offense a little bit. And it really hurts Dalvin Cook.
Kevin O'Connell, we knew that he was going to make. Now, it's nice. Cook has 12 targets over the last 2 weeks, but he shouldn't be in the same price tier as these guys. Like,
I don't think so either.
Right? I don't know. It just seems odd that his price is hovered around this tier the entire season, despite not like he's had some good games, but Cook hasn't had a single game. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, you or Chad. I don't think Cook's had a single game this year where you needed him to win tournaments.
I can't remember one. And again, he's a really good player and he's paid off in a couple different spots. I just don't love the matchup and I don't love the role they're playing. I mean, that's another story for another time. Good job, Washington. Way to just give the game away. Oh my God. But regardless, I worry about when you're paying these type of prices, you don't have the luxury of messing around. Like, you need volume, efficiency, TD equity. Like, you need everything to kind of justify this, because you've got Kamara as we work down. ETN, his price is coming up, but where does he belong? Like, you could argue that ETN might be an 8K back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You could. John said, yeah, but what wide receivers does Denver have to worry about? I mean, they could play straight man versus Titans and stack the box for Henry. Yeah. Don't you think the Chiefs could have done that too? I mean, Malik Willis completed 5 passes in that game. Derrick Henry still had 27 fantasy points. I'm not, and Kansas City does not have a bad defense. Here's the difference. This is where I see a difference. And I think that's a completely fair question, John. I'm not calling you out, but I think it's worth talking about. The difference I see here is, yes, even though Tennessee's defense did a spectacular job limiting and bringing the heat against Patrick Mahomes all game long, you're still talking about Derrick Henry at home against Denver. I wouldn't be shocked to see 30 carries in this game.
No, I mean, this is what the Titans do. The Titans are also, there's a lot of teams that are just dumpster fire. The Titans, you look, and it's like, man, they're no good. And they're just like in contention for the 1 seed once again. Like, they do what they do and they hang in games. But Derrick Henry, again, I kind of put him in a separate category, because if you get that type of volume, it's hard to ask defenses to hold up. Even if you know what's coming, I'm not sure you could stop it.
Yeah. Well, he's a battering ram.
Yeah, there's a cumulative nature of how they play, and Vrabel knows what he's doing.
He does. Yeah. Obviously I like Barkley more. I'm just saying, if you're talking about some of these other guys up there, if Barkley's ownership is just skewed way higher than them, it's a conversation we have to have, right?
I think it's going to be.
Me too.
I get it. I don't mind the pivots. I guess for me, my bigger question is, like, are the pivots Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, or are the pivots lineup construction centric and you save $2,000 and you play Pierce, ETN?
Absolutely. Or I think even Alvin Kamara is in play. I don't think he'll be popular either.
No, I have no problem with Kamara. I do want to see exactly. The Saints have a lot of moving parts with personnel. I'd like to get some clarity. I'm not going to do this unless something changes. But in theory, the Megamind Genius play would be to target one of the Bears, particularly Montgomery, and just hope. Because if you get that right somehow, you kill the most popular stack. Maybe
very true. Montgomery's been so rough lately, but he's still getting so many he's still getting 15 carries per game, a few targets per game. Yeah. And I'm sure people listen to this and they're like, oh, what a bad take. Well, you're not wrong. And I'm not saying you're just going to load up on Montgomery across the board, but
from a game theory perspective, like understanding how, range of outcomes and things, knowing that you need to get lucky where you need to get lucky no matter what you do. If you get lucky with David Montgomery, you don't need to get lucky with Justin Fields. You already won that one. It's taken care of because the luck that you would get from David Montgomery already kills Justin Fields.
And at Montgomery's price point, so close to Pierce, so close
no
to
one's going to use him.
Yeah, right. So close. I mean, if Pollard plays, the only question at that point is like, do I want to go away from running back chalk that has just been so dominant this season?
You could really do something creative though, where you actually play all of them together.
Yeah.
You go really balanced. So you have like Montgomery, Pierce, Pollard.
John said, Laffy, you could get at least 50 yards against Lions D. Yeah. Tell that to the Packers, man. What a joke.
Aaron Jones. Oh my God.
What a joke. And then I had the over rushing yards on Dylan. Of course, I needed Aaron Jones from a DFS perspective, but I was like, all right, well, maybe this bet will hit now that Jones is out. And then I get blanked on both of those.
Yeah, it was rough. It was real rough.
Ugh.
How crazy is Herbert? See, that's where it gets doubly tricky because not only do you need to get lucky, but Khalil Herbert needs to get volume that he's not really getting. So I think that's probably a bridge too far, but
it probably is.
Yeah.
I at least want the guy with the volume.
Exactly.
It's not that stacked of a position though. Like I'm looking at this, I go, okay, Pierce, yeah. Pollard, if Elliott's out against Green Bay, just no question. That's a spot you want to get to. Barkley, I'm definitely have some interest in Henry. We can talk about, just large field tournament, Cook and Chubb, but those aren't great plays. The only other couple guys I wanted to ask you about, and then of course, feel free to chime in on anything else. There were three guys I want to ask you about. Raheem Mostert against Cleveland. I think that's worrisome because Jeff Wilson did get a decent amount of work.
Yep.
I probably fade that backfield, even though Cleveland's run defense has been bad. Jamal Williams had 24 carries last game. Swift had 2, I think. That is significant. He's facing a Chicago team not Chicago. Chicago.
Yeah.
A Chicago team whose offense has been great lately, but defense has been equally as bad as their offense has been good. So that sub 6K, interesting. And then I got to ask you about Deion Jackson, assuming he starts again, 5,400. That team's just so bad right now that can you go to anything from Indy?
There are so many variables with Indy that are like, just, you don't have to deal with. Like, first of all, we don't know what Jeff Saturday is going to do. Like, he might have his own ideas of what the offense should look like.
Yep. 2,
there is a chance that Indy permanently can't score. So your touchdown equity is like 0. Ellinger is yet to do anything that seems positive. So I worry. I'm not sure, though, what I'm going to do if I need to pay down at back.
That's why I'm asking you. I don't really think anything exists.
Wait. Darrell Henderson?
I thought about it. I don't think it's insane. Cam Akers had another, less rushing yards than attempts last game. Man, that's brutal.
You would have needed, where is Cam Akers? I was just looking at this. Cam Akers would have needed, he would have needed 165 carries to get the 100-yard bonus last week. That's a problem.
And then you don't even have A.J. Dillon priced down in the event that Jones is out. He's at 6,700, which I don't even think is practical if Jones is out at this point. Their offense is so bad that how can I justify paying that right now?
I think the answer, though, this is why you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. Like, I'm not going to force in. I will build balance if I have to.
Sure.
And my lowest price running back won't broach more than it'll be a 6K floor.
Yeah. Pollard, Pierce. Again, I'm not saying Elliott's out, but I'm just giving you guys, like, if Elliott's in, I don't want that backfield. Just simply, you would agree, right?
I would.
Like, if Elliott's in, whatever, it's a wash. If Elliott's out, Tony Pollard at 6,500 is still probably $1,000 underpriced. So that would be a lock for me, right? That would be a spot that I would have a very difficult time getting away from. Pierce, I think, is a good spot. Yeah. Want to talk wide receivers and see how this all shakes? Because we obviously haven't built lineups. We'll see how it shakes out, like what builds make the most sense.
Yeah, we did have a question, and I haven't thought about this. I assume the answer is no, though, and we'll get clarification. Do you think Jeff Saturday is going back to Matt Ryan? I assume no.
They might need Matt Ryan to call plays.
Yeah, off OC.
They don't have a guy I don't think they have a guy in the coaching staff that's called plays before. Like in the NFL.
Maybe they should just spin a wheel or something.
Yeah.
Just go random.
Alan said, no one talking about Najee Harris. No, I want nothing to. I mean, I'll talk about him, but I'll just tell you, I want nothing to do with him.
Problem with Najee, I mean, there's multiple problems, but he has no path. Like, I can't even say, well, if the Steelers win, he's in business. Like, nah, he's not. They beat Tampa. It didn't help. Like, there's just nothing that can happen for him. I love Najee. I just don't see it anymore. He's on a team that doesn't have the personnel right now.
He doesn't have a 15-point fantasy game this season.
It's not his fault. There's nothing they can do.
It's kind of his fault.
Fine. That's what people used to. Where was everybody when everyone was ripping Joe Mixon 2 weeks ago? You know, told you it wasn't his fault. It's not your fault.
All right. So let me be clear about something. You would agree, though, that the Bengals being 7.5-point home favorites against the Panthers is different than with Joe Burrow at quarterback.
That helps.
Like, is different than an anemic Pittsburgh offense.
Well, yeah. I mean, Najee's ineligible for 5 touchdowns because there's a 0% chance that the Steelers could ever score 5 touchdowns in a single game.
Right.
Yes.
Like, since he always had a path.
Yes.
But hold on, just because Mixon had a great game, why does it mean that nothing before that was shared responsibility because he had one big game?
I don't know. I didn't think you were going to ask that, honestly. I just thought you'd just go with it. When someone scores 5 touchdowns, you usually don't get pushback. Like, honestly, I don't know. I've my few times I've mentioned a guy who had 5 touchdowns, people just agree and we move on. Looks fine now.
So it's just like, I'm wrong for asking that question. Pretty
no,
much.
I mean, it's a fair question. I don't really have an explanation, but
all right. I think that's probably the best answer you could have given.
Yeah, that's fair. He's not on the slate, so I don't have to worry about it.
You know, it's hilarious though. He before last week, Joe Mixon was the RB12. He's the RB4 now.
Yeah, you can move up a lot when you just absolutely nuke a slate.
When you have 5 good games in 1 week.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that makes up for a lot.
Let's talk about wide receivers here. I did tell you guys too that if PrizePicks isn't available to you and you're like, well, that sucks. I've never subbed at Stokastic yet. I would love to get access to their tools and not really have to pay for them. Well, Ben, I think we got something special for the people, huh?
We got you covered, with the landscape right now, certain states, certain things. That's my favorite part about this. If you don't have one, you get the other. And BetMGM and their deals are going to cover you, and you're going to get our tools on top of it. Tell the people. Tell them.
All you got to do. Yeah, all you got to do. Now, of course, all the links to all this stuff in the description. For those of you watching live, Tyler, throw that in chat. You'll click the link. You follow the very simple directions. Look, again, if you can't properly fill out a voting ballot and you can't figure these directions out, you shouldn't be voting.
Shouldn't be betting.
Shouldn't be betting. Shouldn't be playing DFS. But I have faith that all of you guys can figure this out. Very simple process. Only takes a minute. Follow the directions. You deposit $10, right? You'll click the link and then you'll see the banner down there. You click MGM. You deposit $10 or more if you want. Only has to be $10. You bet see, Ben, I don't think this is specific to any money line. This is just a bet, I think.
The risk-free?
No, to get the 2 free months.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just
any
a bet.
bet.
Yeah, it's just any bet.
Yeah.
So it's doing what you'd be doing when you sign up, and we're just giving that to you. I will say, and I know you know this as well, and you're going to mention it. It's going to be 1 free month. quite
We're already in the process of lowering it to 1 free month opposed to the 2 free months.
Yeah. So that's something that is going away. So if you want to double the amount of months that you'll be getting, we did this with Yahoo. We've done this with other sites. It's not forever.
No, it goes away. It's a $240 value. You just use the link. You'll see it. Okay. And if you have it, just follow the directions. It's easy. But what you need to do after you follow the directions and you're using this link, because if you don't use the link, we can't track you to get you the 2 free months.
Yep.
You put $10 down, bet it on any game, anything. And after that settles, you'll qualify 2 free, not 1, 2 free months of Stokastic Plus Platinum. That's every tool that we have on our site for every single sport. And you can get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on if you would like to do that as well. It's amazing. I don't know how long it lasts. Definitely 2 months, going away very soon. I wouldn't just make that up to you, as we literally had a call about it the other day. 2 free months. And it's a risk up to $1,000 risk-free bet as well. So you're getting the risk-free bet. You're getting the 2 free months. It's as easy as it gets. That's all I'll say. It's as easy as it gets. Follow the directions, and then you'll be eligible, and you'll get 2 free months for all of our sports. All right. And it's especially good, Ben, when it's like, if you're not in PrizePicks states, you're in BetMGM. If you're not in BetMGM states, you're probably in PrizePicks states.
Yeah, our Discord's like that. We got a lot of people who are not in states that have fully legalized, and they're still in there having a great time because there's something for everyone, and these deals kind of cover that, which is great.
Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, 9,100 on DraftKings. Cooper Kupp, 9,000. He has had some underwhelming games against Arizona. Last year, he had one that was big, like 13 receptions, 150 and a touch or something. But Jefferson, 8,800. Adams, 8,700. Diggs, 8,300. Hopkins, 8K flat. Lots of really high-priced receiving options this week.
I get it. Obviously, great players. It's a loaded position. There's going to have to be an opportunity cost. I can't tell you that I like, a normal price quarterback, only good running backs, and then say like, yeah, give me Tyreek, Jefferson, and Adams for my. That's just not going to work. So no. If I have these stacks, you alluded to this earlier, and I just want to repeat it. This is the problem with Tua. Not that it can't work, but you're paying for Tua. You have to have at least one of Waddle and Tyreek. If you want both, it's almost impossible to get there because you need like 8 touchdowns amongst them for it to pay off. It's just really high-end guys. I want to ask you this. Let's start to play the game. If Josh Allen sits, what do you think that does to Diggs?
Ooh. If Josh Allen sits, what?
I kind of like Diggs more then.
Really?
I mean, Case Keenum's not he could throw the ball. Like, no one's going to play Diggs if Josh Allen sits.
I agree, but the opportunity cost there for me is so tough because there's so many other good receivers.
That's very, very fair.
What do you do with Adams? Like Adams, it's so weird this feels so odd for me to say it because he had a huge game. But now all I remember is the second half where Derek Carr couldn't move the football 5 yards downfield. It's such an odd feeling to go, yeah, Adams, 10 for 17 with 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm going, is he overpriced? Because I'm so scared of that Vegas Raiders offense from week to week.
It's terrifying. I mean, of course, all these guys are in play firmly. I'm not really drawn to Adams, though. I can't trust this team. And yeah, Case Keenum and Big Sam, thank you. Case Keenum and Diggs, they made the magic. Remember that play?
Yeah. Wait, with Minnesota?
Yeah, against the Saints where Diggs scored on the Hail Mary.
Right. The one that was it could have been any quarterback because it wasn't a good throw. That one. That's
right.
With the defender fell down.
Yeah, correct.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that.
Well, they've done some things.
Yeah, sure.
They played together. I do think, no joke, that actually does help. Like, this is not a quarterback that Diggs and him know what's going on.
I think having a rapport is definitely important. I'm not saying that.
If I had to play one of these guys, I think it would be Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
I don't believe there's no one's going to show me splits against Arizona that makes me worried. Like, Arizona doesn't have personnel to stop Cooper Kupp. I just worry he's a little banged up and he's been underwhelming because that offense has been underwhelming.
I agree. What about Hopkins?
I mean, he's on a team that is run poorly.
I feel like you were trying to not say what you really felt there.
Well, if I said what I really felt about the Cardinals, this would be my last show. Possibly there'd be a knock on the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, he's DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know what they're doing. I've never seen a team that's offense is false starter sack, then a bubble screen, and then on third down, Kyler sprints 8 yards to the right on 1 foot, and he throws it as far as he can out of bounds. That's the entire offense. Occasionally,
throws it as far out of bounds as possible.
Yeah, off 1 foot, only 1 foot. It's hard to of those 3 plays that I just mentioned. DeAndre Hopkins doesn't really factor into a ton of them. Maybe on second down, his price has continued to rise. These are going to be the decisions I have to make. Of course, if you play Kyler or you stack up the Rams, he's going to be the run back or the pairing. Is he my favorite one-off? No, he's not this week.
You know who I like this week in the mid-range?
Who do you like in the mid-range? You like...
It's between 6 and 7K.
St. Brown.
No. Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that was my second guess. Yeah,
this Miami defense has been carved up.
They're
the
bad.
Passing game. And I think we probably owe. I probably owe Amari Cooper an apology because I really wasn't sure what this guy had left in the tank. Just always dealing with ailments, always banged up. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Hey, Cooper's having a great season. He's got 4 games of 20 plus fantasy points. He's clearly pacing a 1,000+ yard season. He's got 5 receiving touchdowns. I'm not saying he's been a world beater this year. You're not going to be when Jacoby Brissett's your quarterback and you run the football a ton to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But I think it's a very reasonable price on Amari Cooper in this spot. It's also very possible that they're going to have to throw the football a decent amount. He's the wide receiver 8 on DraftKings this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 35 targets in the last 4 weeks. He gets it. This is not related because it's not this week. When does Deshaun Watson come back?
So he's suspended 12 games, right?
Is it 12? I don't know. I know he's coming back at some point. I was just wondering if that's soon.
I think he comes back week 13 or 14.
Okay. So a little ways away.
He
13.
comes back against the Houston Texans.
Of course.
It's week. So they got the Dolphins, Bills, Bucks, then Texans, December 4th.
December 4th. Okay. There you go. Yeah, I mean, Pittman, I don't think you can play him at this point. Not playing Gabe Davis. It's a bad range. Lazard's a mess. Juju and Kirk are going to be firm targets in the mid-range, and they make a lot of sense.
I agree. I think Mecole Hardman at 4,500 makes a lot of sense too. Not a lot of value this week.
What the hell's going on with MVS?
I was going to ask you the same question. He wasn't targeted until what, the 4th quarter or something?
Yeah, I know the Chiefs are constructed in that way, but I am stunned that he is just not involved more than I thought he wouldn't be, for lack of a better sentence. Like he really is a disappearing act.
Justin said, what's up, Justin? Justin Dupengeyser, best last name in all of YouTube chat.
Yeah, good guy.
Said MVS stinks. It seems that way right now, but it's not like they didn't pay this guy a lot of money.
And I'm just, I thought it would be more, and I'm just going to keep bashing the Cardinals. I've never seen someone.
Are you just going to bring everything back to Arizona?
I'm sorry, because all I'm trying to think of is like,
oh, I enjoy it. Go ahead. I'm all for it.
I've never seen a player have a huge impact in a game like Robbie Anderson did last week by doing nothing. Robbie Anderson, he had 1 horrible drop. He had like 4 false starts, which I don't even know how that's possible as a wide receiver. That's what I would have expected. The parallel analogy here is like for MVS to be phased out, I thought there would have been those type of plays. And maybe I've missed them. It just seems like he's being phased out, but when he is involved, he's good. He's fine.
I agree.
Robbie Anderson is, for the Seinfeld fans, he is trying to get fired like George Costanza, and teams just keep signing him. There's no way that Robbie Anderson is actually trying to stay in the NFL, because what he's doing out there is
it's so bad.
They're also, just like, ooh, tough game for Robbie Anderson. Yeah, that's an understatement.
Also, I swear it used to be Robby.
I mean, if I was playing like him, I would try to change my name too. Like, you might want to be more aggressive than just that's like the Ricky Fowler of the golf world. I never know.
It
was
changed.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought so.
I'm a big Robbie Anderson fan too. He is just playing horrible right now.
Who's a big Robbie Anderson fan?
Well, I thought in Carolina he was a player. He had some monster blow up games.
He did. And you talk about boom or bust every week.
It's just bust. There's no.
No, I meant in Carolina.
Oh, in Carolina for sure. Yeah, he is bodysuit man at this point.
Have you? I want to ask you one more thing, because we're making decent time here. We're almost done wide receivers. Tight ends only takes a second. Appreciate, as always, you guys sticking with us through this entire show. Almost at 100. 2 likes away. There's got to be 2 people out of the 350 watching that can get us north of 100 likes. There's got to be 2 of you out there. Last night, Lamar Jackson completed passes to 10 different players. Nobody had more than 2 receptions. What?
I know. I was sweating. God, the sweat I had last night.
Would you win?
Nothing great. I did secure some good tickets though, which is nice. A win. Because I'm not joking. I think I was 0 for my last 100 in satellites. Like, my satellite game has been my DFS game in general has been bad, but my satellite game has been terrible. But I did snag the good Thanksgiving tournament, so I'll be in there.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah, no one likely pros, like all those guys. Just a pair of catches at best. It was really wild.
Insane that Duvernay had 1 reception. I really thought he would be the guy, but
Drake was awesome last night.
Drake looked real nice. Looked real nice for sure. All right. When it comes to some of these other guys, you mentioned Juju. I'm with you. Gabe Davis, like if it's Keenum, I'm really not all that interested. If it's Allen, I think Gabe's price has come down enough. Came down to 6,400. I'd be interested, although I like Cooper more there. I like Amari Cooper more than I like Gabe Davis. Jalen Waddle's price is coming up. What about the cheap options? That's what I want to know. Like, we talked about Mooney. He's not too expensive. You have Pickens, Claypool, Hardman, Renfro, DPJ's 4,300. Van Jefferson had 5 targets and was blanked on all of them and dropped what would have been a 30-yard gain last week. It gets ugly.
Well, it definitely gets ugly. Again, we say this often when we get to this range. A lot of it's going to be dependent on your, like, if I play Trevor Lawrence, a guy like Zay Jones, he's going to be firmly in my stacks. Like, he's on the field basically 100% of snaps, catches his targets, does what he does. Certainly Hardman is down there. I'm not sure I can do the Saints guys. Like, Traquan is down there, but what are they really giving you? It's outdoors in Pittsburgh. I'd rather take a shot with one of the better offenses. I don't think you can go to a Tennessee pass catcher at this point, particularly if it's, Willis under center. Let me ask you this. Is there anyone on Green Bay that you would play?
Honestly, I don't want to pay. I know that Lazard is coming off a strong game, but I don't really want to pay north of $6,000 for a pass catcher in Green Bay right now.
What about a guy like Sammy Watkins then?
I mean, that just feels gross. I'm assuming
Samare Toure.
Well, I love that guy.
That guy's somebody.
Because Romeo Dobbs is not playing. He's already out. He's going to be out a month at least.
And Watson is sporting a Q tag.
Yeah, and how involved is he going to be? I'm not even joking right now, Ben. I don't know if I want to get to Green Bay. Like, sure, if I'm playing a bunch of lineups, I'll end up with some Packers, I'm sure. It's just not a team that excites. Rodgers is bad right now.
Yeah, he's bad.
He threw 2 goal line interceptions in that game.
Well, that, again, when it's 1st and goal on the 1 and you can't get in and you got one more play, you could give it to Aaron Jones and score, or you could throw it to Bakhtiari, because that's obviously what I would do. It just throws it, just immediately intercepted.
Amazing.
Like, what are you doing?
Jones didn't touch the ball once
No.
on that final sequence at the goal line.
Like, it's not that hard. That's why I love the Titans in life. You know what they do on first down? They give it to Derrick Henry. If it doesn't work, you got to stop it 3 more times.
Yeah. Once in a while, you get a Ryan Tannehill bootleg.
Yeah, just enough to keep him honest, though.
Yeah, and it works all the time. Like that guy, look at Ryan Tannehill's rushing touchdown numbers over the last couple of years or few years. He could score, but you're right. It's keeping him honest. Man, that Arizona offense is dog shit right now. I would honestly rather take some shots on Van Jefferson. As gross as that sounds, as bad as the Raiders or Rams have been, at least Jefferson's almost minimum salary. Like, at least I'm not paying for Van Jefferson.
I get it. I mean, again, if you're playing Stafford, it's much easier to stomach, like, because you can do some stuff. So Jaguars, Chiefs, sprinkle maybe. I don't think I'm going to get to a Giants pass catcher. Like, I looked at Wandale. I just don't know if I want to do that.
It's ugly.
It's bad.
It's real ugly across the board. Is there anybody else at wide receiver?
I think that by Sunday, we are going to have to revisit the Packers situation. I know you don't want to, but I would bet on Sunday strategy show that you, me, and Alex are talking about the Packers pass catchers.
You're probably right about that. I don't want to, but I think you're probably right. The lowest I'm willing to go is probably sprinkling in Jefferson. Aside from that, I think Mecole Hardman does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe DPJ is not the craziest thing either.
Marquez Callaway should have caught a touchdown last night.
Yeah, he should have.
3,600.
That overthrow by Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the corner. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
All right. Tight ends, man. Tight ends.
Oh, shocker! Evan Ingram didn't work.
Oh God! Apparently he got hurt. I didn't even know until after the game that he left the game because he was so uninvolved from the jump.
Yeah, that's like the Ebron, where it's like, oh man, rough game. It's just like he's been out concussed for 3 weeks straight, and I was still playing him. I didn't even know.
Hey, by the way, for those of you wondering, we still have, or actually we just put in, I think, $1 for college basketball projections for the first week.
$1.
Is that what it is?
It is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So you get fantasy projections, fantasy point projections, expert Discord chat, player usage data, all that $1 for the first week. And I would assume if it's available in your state, college basketball, if you do it right, is, I won't say soft, Ben, but I would assume there are definitely some edges, right?
So this is one of these things. Not everyone plays college basketball DFS. We totally
I can't,
get that.
Unfortunately.
I can't either. But if you don't for $1 get Matt Gajewski's projection, I really don't understand. Like, if you're going to play, and not everyone is, but if you are, this is the single best value you'll ever get. You're getting all the information. I just talked about, it took me hours to research these teams yesterday. We're doing all that for you. And we're giving you that. You can use it on PrizePicks. You can use it on all these sites. What a great value. If you're playing college sports, you're betting it, PrizePicks, we're playing traditional DFS, $1 to get you the edge for the first week.
Promo code CBB is back.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just use the link in the description. That'll make your life.
That's not my promo code, but
I know. Just use the link in the description. $90 discount. And yeah, Justin, I agree totally. They're actively trying to get Mecole Hardman touchdowns. Look at his red zone usage. Wild stuff. For a guy of that price, you're very rarely going to see that. All right, talk to me about tight ends here. It's Travis Kelce, and then it falls off a cliff. Look at that gap in pricing.
It's huge, and I just realistically don't know how I'm going to find money to get to Travis Kelce. Like, Cole Kmet is probably going to be chalk. I don't really like that. Give me Higbee. Give me Dawson Knox if Josh Allen plays, maybe.
You know, I'm always a sucker for like hoping to get the cheap 2-touchdown game from Dawson Knox.
Those will happen. I mean,
Kmet's going to be popular, man.
Tanner Hudson. God, I don't know if I can do that.
What, Hudson or Kmet?
No, well, both. I'm not going to. Kmet is just, you're chasing.
Kmet's, but you know he's going to get ownership at 3,400.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like you're chasing a lot.
And then I think Dulcich is okay at 3,400. Probably a respectable fade, or a respectable pivot off of Cole Kmet. I think David Njoku, if he plays, he said he plans on it, but who knows what that means. I think David Njoku's fine at 4,100. Last one I want to ask you about. What if Darren Waller's back and he gets full practices in all week and he's active?
Certainly with Carr, that would make it easier. As a one-off, if I had the money, I'd be okay with it, but I'd need to see confirmation. I want to pass it back to you and ask you kind of a crazy question. Is there any scenario, tournaments, Brissett, Cooper, Njoku stack? Run it back with like a Tyreek.
I don't think it's crazy.
I kind of like that.
I don't think it's crazy. Miami just scores so many points that it's possible that you could, what's interesting about this team is that if they do fall behind, the likely scenario is that they fall behind and can't claw their way back and can't really hang in a shootout. But if they can against this Miami secondary, Kareem Hunt has not been getting much involvement in the passing game either. We already know that Nick Chubb isn't going to get a lot of involvement. Kareem Hunt doesn't have a game with more than 4 targets all season. If that's the case, you're probably going to see almost all the passing volume going to Cooper or Njoku or DPJ.
That's a wild stat. Again, tournament centric, but aggressive. Ooh, no one won Powerball. Is that true?
They had to delay processing it because there was so much or something that I saw earlier today.
That's insane if no one won.
Did you buy any?
I did. I never, ever, ever buy Lotto.
Right.
Ever. But I had a scratch off ticket that I needed to cash because those I'll do, as if that's any better.
Well, you like the instant.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Scratch offs are fun. Yeah. I never buy Powerball and stuff like that.
Neither do I, but I did buy tickets yesterday.
Yeah, I think I bought $20 worth. I don't get crazy with Powerball. I never win. I don't even win $2.
No, it's
no. I mean, I don't even win. I don't even get a number most.
Oh, one number is like a miracle.
That's what
never mind. You got to be kidding me.
Right. And that, yeah. Do you want to power play it? No, I don't.
No,
stop it.
Just the worst.
Scott said sucker bet power.
Correct.
Yeah, of course it's a sucker bet.
It's the worst.
Of course. I don't think anyone's going into this being like, yeah, this is
plus EV Blotto. I mean, apparently when it gets this high, it is, but could take a while to realize your expectation. Slight issue.
All right. One defense. I under 3K. I see one.
Well, all right. There's definitely if Josh Allen doesn't play,
out.
Yeah, Minnesota for sure. Pittsburgh.
Yep, that's who I have.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it, but
Megamind genius defense. It's the Cardinals. The Cardinals, as bad as they are, they scored. They scored last week.
They scored twice against New Orleans a few weeks ago too. Right?
They're like, I don't even know what to say about them. Yeah, they've scored 4 defensive touchdowns over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and
what are we doing with this team?
You're right. They've scored.
So imagine scoring 4 defensive touchdowns in 4 weeks and you're 1-3 in those games.
It's incredible. Yeah, not good.
They needed 2 against the Saints.
But at that price, yeah, and 17 fantasy points. They should have had like 30 in that game. They allowed 409 passing yards in that game to Andy Dalton.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Stafford, that's the type of game you want. Cardinals defense. You also want Rams stacks on other teams for sure.
Yeah, maybe the same team. Who knows?
Yeah, honestly, just do it. Why not?
Laz gets fit style.
He knows.
All right. Hey, follow Ben at JazzRez DFS, me at Lafayette_D. Remember, BetMGM. If you haven't signed up, $10 gets you, 2 free months of Stokastic Plus Platinum and up to $1,000 risk-free bet. Doesn't have to be 10. It can be more than 10. Just can't be less. PrizePicks, 5 deposit there. You're talking about Free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum, up to $100 first match deposit bonus, and a fantastic site to play on. College basketball tools, projections, all that for the week, only $1. And I guess that's it. But hey, appreciate you guys as always. This is a fun show. Ben and I'll be back week 11, man. Week 11.
Crazy.
Thanks to Tyler for producing as well. Peace.
Good show, folks.